Honey, are you still tripping over these dusty bitches? We're gonna help you fix that. What's up, guys? I have lunch with me today. Let me show you. I made this last night. This is basically leftovers. I shredded up chicken drumsticks with an egg and some fish tofu and like japchae noodles, glass noodles. So I thought I would have some lunch and we can chat because it's been a while. I need my buldak sauce. I love this shit. I know I'm crazy. All my friends think like, what the hell are you doing? It's so good. I kind of burnt my noodles a little bit in the air fryer, but it's whatever. Look at my dog. Anyway, we're gonna talk about friendships today. I honestly been holding off about talking about this for a while because I don't know. I just feel like people might take it the wrong way or misconstrue it. Whatever. I don't care anymore. So yeah, if you are tripping over people that you feel like you shouldn't be tripping over, or you're not sure if you still want to be friends with certain people, this video is for you. Cheers. Can't forget my matcha latte. So we're going into 2024 and we don't need certain kinds of people in our lives anymore. It don't matter our history, how long we've been friends. If they're just not good for you, they're just not good for you. It's time to audit your friends, okay? I gotta eat all these crunchy pieces. So I'm making this video because I realize not everybody is your friend. Like, yeah, they can be your friend, but I want genuine friends. And we're gonna get into that. So the structure of this video is pretty much introduction, why I'm making this video, the types of friends to look out for, my stories, we're gonna love that. How do you know if you are the toxic friend, and how to deal with toxic friends. Toxic, negative, whatever word you want to use, okay? I will just say negative because they have a negative impact on my life. I feel like I never really had like a crazy toxic friend where it's like blatantly obvious. That's why I wanted to make this video. So I think why a lot of friendships fail as friendships, it's not just like friendship, it's like a relationship. The relationship you have with a partner, the relationship you have with yourself, it's like a type of relationship you have with someone, right? So I think people forget that sometimes like friendship is a two-way street and we both change. You and your friends go through phases of life and sometimes you guys just don't make it, and that's okay. Sometimes people are just in your life for a season, sometimes they're in your life for a reason. I got some bars today. Anyway, yeah, sometimes people are not meant to be in your life forever, and that's all right. I think we all, myself included, we all try to be friends with everyone. We all try to make like friendships last, and that's great if you can. But I think at this point, as we get older, it's more about quality and quantity. It's like the friends that show up for you, the friends that will be there for you, the friends that will like give you the space to grow and grow with you. And sometimes I feel like we get all caught up in like the history we have with someone or how long we've known someone, that even though they're not good for us and we innately know it deep down, we still try to do our best to keep them around. And I'm totally guilty of that. But what it does to you in the long run is it can be detrimental to your growth. And sometimes these people stunt your growth. And I think where a lot of friendships fail is that everybody's different. Everybody's unique, right? We have to stop looking for ourselves in other people. Like sometimes I know like in situations, myself included, how can they do this to me? Like I would never, that's the thing, like they're not you. So I think that's a good takeaway. They're not you, so don't forget that. Sometimes people have no problem doing what they do to you because that's just who they are. Sometimes people have no problem doing what they do to you because they can't see further than their traumas or like their mindset or their place in life. And that's also okay. But yeah, let's get into the types of friends that you need to look out for that are huge red flags, okay? So, the first type of friend is the victim. The one who always victimizes themselves. The one who's always like, oh, like, why does this happen to me? Like, why is my life this way? Like, I'm not saying, like, it's their fault, right? Because what happens to you in your life, your experiences, like if you get abused or like you have traumatized, like, childhood, stuff like that, those things are not your fault. But how you react and, like, handle those moving forward is your responsibility, right? But sometimes people, like, forget and they just live in that victim mentality, and that they can become so insufferable. Okay, I definitely had a friend like this, and it's like, it's tiring because it's like you offer solutions but they don't want it. They want you to enable like the pity. And I personally think when they victimize themselves, they get the attention and they love that attention, so that's why they keep putting themselves in this victim mindset or mentality. That's what I personally think. Number 2, the snakes. Basically, self-explanatory. Watch how they talk about their friends. Watch how they talk about situations, because if they're talking about their friends to you, they're probably talking about you to their friends. That is self-explanatory. I feel like I don't need to say anything more. Number 3, the one with low self-esteem. I'm not saying it's bad to have low self-esteem, and I feel like this is also very subjective depending on the person, but most of the time these people, these types of friends, they will project their insecurities onto you. They probably cannot be happy for you, not because they don't want to, but they just don't know how to be. They don't know how to be happy for you outside of themselves because they're not happy themselves. Also, because they have such low self-esteem, they blend in easily. They want to like blend in with the crowd. So let's say you have a friend who has low self-esteem and they love the attention they get or validation they get when they blend in with other people. If those people don't like you or they talk about you, your friend with self-esteem will probably not back you up. They'll probably blend in with them and start talking about you too, because they're not grounded within themselves, that they're willing to sacrifice their like values to be part of something bigger than themselves. That's unfortunate, but I also have friends like that. The next one, number 4, the leech. I only have like maybe one friend like this. You know, people who always ask you for favors and don't do anything in return. Granted, yes, like you want to do things for others because, you know, unconditional love is unconditional, right? But it's like, how much can you give to someone before like you have nothing left, right? So I've had friends who like, you just keep asking you for favors and they don't do shit in return, and then they get mad at you if you stop doing favors for them. But it's like, hello, like, what are you giving back to me? Like, why am I wasting my time helping you if you're not there for me when I need you? You know what I'm saying? The next one, number 5, the silent spy. This type of friend doesn't really like hate you, doesn't dislike you, but how bright you shine bothers them. So it's like, they're the type of friends that like, they don't want to change, but how you grow makes them uncomfortable. So they'll always watch your stuff, they'll always like your stories, they'll never compliment you. They'll never compliment you. They'll never hype you up. That's just, you know, silent. The next one, the possessor. The possessive. People who get upset when you don't hit them up. Like they are, like, you are not allowed to have friends outside them. I low-key was guilty of this for a little bit, so can't say much. But I never took it further. I would just get like FOMO. But there are people who get like possessive of you and they don't let you like hang out with other people other than them. Or they get like upset that you do things for other people and not them. Basically, they're not reaping your benefit. I've had friends like that too. It's like I feel like I get tired doing stuff for people because I feel like, what am I getting in return? Again, I know like you do things for people because you want to, but there's a difference between doing that and like getting taken advantage of. And I feel like I was getting taken advantage of, so I decided to take a step back. And I was hearing chitter chatter that they was upset that I don't do nothing for them no more. I don't hang out with them no more. But it's like, hello, you can hit me up too. But you didn't, so clearly I initiated everything. Okay, the next one is called the fraud, right? They're only friends with you because of what they can get from you. They're very easy to like switch sides. They're literally like the fake friend. I've had one of these. One. It wasn't too obvious, but when I reflect back, I'm gonna get into that later. But they're nice to you, and they like do like, it's not like obvious, but they do subtle like jabs at you, subtle comments, things like that, and you're just like, where is this coming from? And they'd be like, oh, just kidding. Like, no, you're not kidding. Like, that's coming from somewhere, okay? So that's that real fake friend you gotta look out for. Okay, the next one, subjective, the clueless. Okay, it's okay to be like clueless and be like, you know, but it's also, I am not your mommy. I am not gonna babysit you. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm not gonna tell you how to behave. I'm not gonna tell you how to think. I'm not gonna tell you how to act. Like, you are an adult, right? I know like your 20s, because I'm 30, right? I know your 20s is like trial and error. It's like a tough time because, you know, you're learning a lot. You're like thrown into adulthood, but that's not an excuse. Like, that's not an excuse. Like, I'm young. Like, that's really not an excuse. Like you're old enough to comprehend what you're doing. You're old enough to think for yourself. Okay, so I'm really tired of the, oh, they're just young, like, excuse. So yeah, I would stay away from someone who's like clearly clueless, because I'm not like responsible for you. I'm responsible for myself. Okay, the last one, the double agent. Ooh, the double agent who? People who are friends with people that you don't like. Again, this one is also just subjective, but it really depends on like the people, right? It really depends on your friend. Because I had two situations. I had one situation where I trust my friend, where I know she won't talk about me, and she will stop my name from slander since she's friends with someone that I don't no longer talk to. So I trust her. The other situation, I don't trust, because I just watched the way she talks, how fast she is to talk shit. I don't trust her. So again, subjective. It really is, everything that I listed is based on your discernment, because it's like, it's no one size fit all. Like, this is all, like, one person can embody like multiple traits of these, right? It's all about your discernment, how you feel, and also you could be the toxic friend too. So if someone decides to distance themselves from you, like, you can't be upset just as much as they can't be upset if you want to distance yourself. So it goes both ways here. I'm not just saying it's like one side is right. Those are the types of toxic friends that you guys should look out for, that I've had experience with. I've never had experience, thankfully, where a girl's trying to steal my man. So I know there are people like that too, but I've never been in that situation. In high school, yeah, but that's like high school. I don't count that. That shit is, you know. My noodles are cold now. I'm so busy talking. How does this affect your life? So if you hang out with certain people and you don't feel good, you dread hanging out with them, you dread talking to them, those are all signs on taking the next step, like evaluating your friendships. And there are several ways to go through this. Like, ask yourself certain questions, like, dude, are they able to hold a conversation? Are they able to have accountability? Are they able to reflect back on their actions and how they're affecting you? If they can do these things, I think it's worth having a conversation with. If you feel like they can't hold a conversation, they're gonna swerve that shit back onto you, or they just, some people literally don't think that what they're doing is wrong. And like, you just can't make them see it that way, which is alright. Then you don't have to have a conversation. Like, how you distance yourself, it's up to you. You can distance yourself, you can just ghost them. I'm not a fan. I do it too though, but we're gonna get into that. So you can ghost them, because sometimes it's not worth it. Sometimes the agony you get from having a conversation is just not worth it at all. Okay, we're gonna get into my story time. Okay, I have 3 different stories here. 3 different stories. And when I am talking about these stories, in no way, shape, or form am I like shading anyone or like I'm like talking shit. I'm just talking about my experience I've had with like certain people and like what happened through my lens, okay? Just because it happened like one way in my lens, it could have happened differently from the other person's perspective, okay? That's my disclaimer. We're gonna rewind back to like 2020. 2020, summer 2020. My friend Kat, her and her boyfriend broke up. And they've always like been kind of on and off, so. But this time she said it was like for real, right? So she like moved her shit out. She was looking for a place to stay. And like me and my boyfriend like decided to like help her out. So we like moved in with her. And a couple weeks later, like she started seeing him again. And I was getting kind of like aggravated because I was like, bro, like what are you doing? They sort of started seeing each other again. And it annoyed me. I didn't like it at all. You know, as a friend, like I wanted what's best for you. I saw like certain things, I've heard certain things, and you know, I wanted someone better for her. So that was the summer of 2020. Fast forward to probably spring 2021. They were talking and then they stopped, and they were talking and they stopped. So when they were for real talking again, and I think they were like getting back together, it like really pissed me off. And like I've always wanted to go to therapy, but I just never found the time, or like I need to go, right? I just always like, oh, like I should like go to therapy like one of these days because of my mom. My tipping point was, so I had a conversation with Kat in the car. Like she told me that, you know, she's getting back with him, but she still like values our friendship, and she doesn't usually like do confrontation. She hates like that stuff. So for her to talk to me in the car like that, it really meant a lot to me. And I thought everything was fine, everything was great, right? Like because we were living together, she's like, oh, I still want to live with you next year, stuff like that. I was like, cool, great, right? Fast forward like 2 weeks. So me and Kat have a friend. I'm gonna call her Gretchen. So Kat worked at a dental office, and Gretchen went to go get her Invisalign, whatever. After her appointment, Gretchen calls me and she was like, oh my god, like Kat told me everything. And I was like, well, I already know everything. So, you know, I just figured Kat was filling her in. And then Gretchen was like, no, like she didn't tell you everything. And I was like, what do you mean? What am I missing here? And she's like, oh, you sure you want me to tell you? And I'm like, first of all, that would have been a red flag already. I did not know this at the time. That is a red flag. Anyway. So I was like, just tell me. You can't do that. Why? People can't do that. If you say it, you have to say it. Okay. So she was saying how like a bunch of other stuff that like, you know, Kat didn't tell me in the car, right? So I was like really upset because I was like, wow, I felt like she told me one thing and then she told Gretchen another. So I was like, what is your true intent here? So I was so upset. I started like I was just so mad. And then like my boyfriend was like, why are you so upset, right? And in that moment was the moment I was like, yo, maybe I should go to therapy. Maybe this is like what, like the trigger, like the catalyst, right? But side note, the fact that Gretchen was able to like go behind Kat's back and like tell me all these things that Kat told her in confidence is something I put into consideration when I decided not to be friends with Gretchen anymore. So I started going to therapy, and that shit sucked. Talking to my therapist about this whole situation, and it went from like my situation in Kat to really being about like my situation with my mom and my childhood, all that stuff. So it like the whole summer I was depressed because I was learning so much about myself in therapy that I had no idea. I was learning how certain things triggered me, affected me, why I was behaving the way I was, things like that, right? So the whole time I was in therapy, I withdrew myself completely from my friend group. I ghosted everybody, sort of. I just didn't talk to anyone. I didn't show up to any functions. I was just so depressed, and I just needed space. And this whole time that I was depressed and just to myself, right? Gretchen was like mad I didn't tell her anything. I called her once to tell her about like my situation, like my mom, like I got into an argument with her, and the whole time on the phone when I was trying to tell her like my issue, she was like, wow, like that really sucks, like, oh, I'm so tired. And I'm like, okay, like you don't want to hear my shit, like, all right, like why are you mad if I'm not telling you nothing? Because like you want to know. I just felt like she wanted to know want to know what was going on without actually like doing anything or being there for me as a friend. Because one time on the phone, she was like, oh, like, you need to tell me these things. Like, no, I don't. Like, why do I need to tell you these things? She never once offered like, hey, like, do you need anything? Like, I'm there for you, like, you know. So I was alright. And then I was hearing all these things she was saying about me from other people. So I was like, okay, like, I was already going through a rough time. Like, I thought you were my friend, right? So I ended up like ghosting Kat for a little bit, because I feel like that's like my defense mechanism, you know. So I would like leave before I'm left type of thing. So yeah, so that was the summer. I pretty much stopped talking to Gretchen. I deleted her off everything. I didn't want to talk to her. I ghosted her because I felt like it wasn't worth it. I felt like she is not mature enough to take accountability. Again, time has passed. I don't know how she is now, but at the time, okay. So at the time, I felt like she couldn't handle like a conversation or like take accountability. Just what other situations I've seen her do with other people. So I just felt like it wasn't worth it. So for me, I just, you know. And to be fair, she deleted me off some things too. So it was kind of mutual, I guess. So that is the first story. I'm trying to like explain it in a way where it's not confusing, but this all correlates, right? So I had another like situation with another friend. We're gonna call her Agatha. Okay, Agatha. Agatha was a longtime friend of mine. Like, we were friends in high school. We never really kept up after high school, but we started reconnecting again after college. We were friends for a while, and she was going through a breakup the same time I started going to therapy, so I wasn't able to be there for her emotionally. So she was going through it, I was going through it, we just kind of stopped talking. And then for my birthday, she sent me a birthday gift, and I thought that was really sweet. So I was like, all right, like let's kind of like rekindle things. We start talking again after like 8 months of not talking. So 2022 was all right. You know, we went through the year. You know, I felt like I was a little better. So I tried my best to be there for her. She is my victim friend, okay? Because I did my best to be there for her, and I was like, you know, like, I need to be more patient. Maybe I was just not a good friend to other people, so I was trying to make everything up by being a better friend to her. So she has said a lot of things about a lot of people, complained about a lot of things, but she never, like, we never really argued. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm the exception to the rule. Maybe I get like a free pass. I don't know. Maybe because I don't live where like my hometown friends live, that like I get to like stay away from some of the drama, right? So, but I do take into account of like consideration like the things she says about certain people and how she reacts. Last November, we went to a concert. It was me, Agatha, and my stepmom. I got 4 tickets to this concert. And I tried so hard to sell the last ticket. I kept asking around like, anyone want this ticket? Nobody wanted this ticket, right? Nobody wanted this ticket. Agatha knew how hard I was trying to get rid of this ticket. So during the summer, I made a new friend. Her name is Bao. I also have her permission to use her name. So I met her, and I knew she liked the artist that we were gonna go see, but I didn't want to ask her right away because like we just met, and I was like, I don't know if it's like too soon. It's like weird, right? But it's like getting closer to the concert, and I was like, shit, I have this extra ticket. I was like, fuck it. Before I asked Bao to come to this concert, I asked Agatha. I said, hey, like I have a friend like who really likes this artist, like can she come? And Agatha's like, yeah, like is your ticket, like I'm not gonna stop you. But again, I was like, I made it very clear to Agatha. I was like, yes, but you're also coming, and I want you to be comfortable. I just don't want to invite someone random, like, you know, I know you don't care about. I just want to run it by her to show her that like her opinion mattered to me, okay? So she's like, no, that's fine. I bet. So I asked Bao, she's like, you want to come? She's like, hell yeah. So you know, we out. So we go to New York City for this concert, okay? Because we live 6 hours away from New York City, whatever. So we go to New York City, right? This is mid-November, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So, you know, my friend Agatha, she's been really stressed. Like, she's always stressed. She's always tired. I don't want to stress her out. So I was like, you know, like, on the day of the concert, I was like, it's your day. Like, we'll do what you want. Like, your time. Like I didn't want to stress her out. Like, she said she was going to go gym, but she ended up not going to the gym. So I was like, okay, it's fine. So we made plans to go eat brunch, right? Eat brunch. Go shop around at this jewelry store in Chinatown. Come hang out at my place, and then we go to the concert, okay? That was the plan. Bao is only 10 minutes from me back in New York City, because I'm from New York City, I live in New York City. So she was staying 10 minutes away from like my home. So like we woke up, and then Agatha was like, okay, like I'm gonna get ready and we're gonna go, like I'm gonna come. I said, yeah, sure, like it's fine. And then so I went to go eat with Bao first. But again, we were gonna eat again, because you know, we're not like we don't get to go home often. I don't get to go home often, so when I'm back, girl gonna eat, like no problem eating. I wasn't gonna eat like a full meal. I just wanted like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, dip my fingers and shit, okay? So I went to go eat with Bao. And then Agatha saw like my story on Instagram. She's like, wow, you guys ate already? I was like, yeah, no, but like it's fine, like we're gonna eat again. Like it's no big deal. And I don't know, I guess she got like upset. She was like, oh, I'll just meet you at the jewelry store, right? My bracelet broke. My bracelet broke, and this takes time to fix, and my flight was the next day. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go there and drop this bracelet off, and then we'll walk around and wait for you, right? Not that serious, I just wanted to fix this shit, okay? And she was like, I don't know, I guess that made her even more upset. She was like, it's fine, like, I'm gonna go shop around for my friend's birthday, I'll just meet you at your place. I was like, oh shit, okay. But I didn't want to stress her out. I want to stress her out. So I said, all right. So you know, we go to the store, we eat, we go to the store, and then like we just go back to my place, we chill. So Agatha shows up later on. She shows up, I open the door, like I'm excited to see my girl, because you know it's been a while. When I saw her face, I just knew it was gonna be a rough time. Like she wasn't like excited, like she just gave me the cargo pants I asked for, and I was like, oh, okay, because you know we're gonna change before we go to concert. She walks into my house. She says hi to my grandpa, right? She sits down next to my grandpa, and my grandpa looks at me. He's like my guy's just trying to watch TV, you know, in his own solitude. So when she gives me the cargo pants, she's like, you can go change. And I was like, yeah, like, I'll change in a bit, like we're not leaving yet. So she's like eating her muffin, right? She's eating her muffin, and my grandpa is like, why don't you eat that upstairs? And she's like, oh, like I'm hungry, whatever, right? So I'm standing there talking to her, trying to chat with her, my grandpa, right? She looks at me, she dead ass with like the nastiest attitude. She's like, you know, you can go change, right? I'm like, my grandpa looks at me like, what the fuck? First of all, you are in my house. My house. Am I not allowed to stand in my house with my grandfather talking to my friend? Right? So I was like, okay. So I go upstairs and I was like, whatever. She comes upstairs and she says hi to Bao. That's it. She doesn't even get to, like, she doesn't even try to get to know her. She doesn't even talk to her. Nothing. She doesn't even look at her. And I was like I was very confused. I was very, very confused. I was like, did I do something wrong? Like what's going on? I have no idea. So my stepmom comes home, you know, we all change, and we're out to concert, right? And we're sitting in the van, and like she's like on her phone the whole time. She doesn't even talk to me, and I'm like, okay, like I didn't know, like I was very distraught because I was like, the vibes are off. Even my stepmom was like, is your friend okay? And Bao was like, am I making her uncomfortable? Like I felt so bad that like my friend, like my new friend was like, feel like she was at fault, you know, when she didn't do anything wrong. So like this whole concert was low-key almost a shit show. I had my stepmom sit in between us. I felt like she had, like Agatha had more fun with the stranger next to us than like us. Anyway, so you know, the concert comes and goes, and like I go back home. I go back to like where I am living now. And like I talk to Agatha every day, and like we did not talk for like until Thanksgiving, because I was also going back to New York City again for Thanksgiving, and I had dinner plans with her and her friends. Some of them are my friends too, but these are like her main friends, okay? So the day of the dinner during Thanksgiving, I was like, you know what, maybe she just stressed, like, you know, she just throwing a tantrum, whatever. Like we're friends, like we're like sisters, like she'll get over it, right? I don't know, she'll tell me eventually. The day of the dinner during Thanksgiving weekend, she bails on the restaurant that she wanted to go to, that I was like, okay, let's go. Because every time I come back to New York City, I go wherever she wants to eat. She always says like, oh, I just want to have things my way, like I always do all these things for people. I wish people would do things for me. So I was trying to cater to her to make her happy, okay? So I tell our mutual friends, hey, like Agatha bailed, and all the mutual friends are like shook. They're like, what the fuck, she bailed? Then she told us she was coming. So we get to the restaurant, and I'm talking to a mutual friend. I was talking to her and I was like, hey, like, do you know what's going on? Like, do you know if she's mad at me? Like, what's good, right? Our mutual friend was like, oh, like, just tell me what happened. So I tell her everything. I just said on camera. It sounds like everything matches up. And I was like, but what was the problem? I don't get it. I'm confused. And my mutual friend was like, oh, she was mad because you changed the plans. And I was like, okay. I didn't think it was a big deal because we were still sticking to the plan. I was just doing my own stuff outside of the plan, right? Okay, again, if I was wrong, I was like, she could have just told me that. Like, I felt like, are we not friends enough for her to be like, hey, like, I didn't like how you did that? I would have been like, I'm so sorry. For you to be mad at me over something like that and put our friendship on the line, I didn't understand. And I was talking to the mutual friend. I was just trying to explain to her, like, I didn't understand, like, why she was behaving this way. And then my mutual friend was like, I told her to talk to you after the concert. And all right. So Agatha basically told everybody she was pissed at me, but me, the day of. So everybody already knew what was going on but me. And I was like, okay. And then our mutual friend was like, I think you guys are just great people, just not good friends. And to me, I was like, has she said stuff about me? Has she complained about me to you before? Because to me, since we made up, this is like the first time something big happened. And then, you know, and then like, my mutual friend like had nothing to say. So then after that, I was like, you know, fuck this. Because I was like, I don't need this shit. I didn't want to stand there and defend myself. Because I didn't do anything wrong. If I hurt you so much by changing the plans, like, you literally could have just told me. Like, I would have been an adult and said sorry. Like, I feel like this was just, it just blew my mind. Because I went home and I tried to think of it from her shoes. And I couldn't, you know, because I lost for words. Anyway, so that is pretty much the second story. I went home and I told my boyfriend all about it, and my boyfriend was like, I think she was just jealous of Bao. And I was like, what are we in high school? I don't think Agatha was jealous of my friend. I think because I've always put Agatha first, that when I did something else with somebody new, it rubbed her the wrong way. That's what I think happened. So, but this also correlates back into Kat, right? Because when Agatha did that to me, something in my head like clicked. And at the time I realized that like I was doing to Kat what Agatha did to me. Because damn, this video long because my battery is dying. I'll switch it out, my memory card is full. So anyway, I was pretty much upset that Kat chose her boyfriend over me at the time. I realize that's wrong now because that's obviously her man, right? I know, yeah. One good thing came out of my situation with Agatha. And this is why I feel like sometimes people are in your life for a season and for a reason. I feel like I learned my lesson. The lesson that I needed to learn. And because I was taught that lesson by Agatha, she was on her merry way and I was on my merry way. When I was friends with Agatha, I was not talking to Kat. So at the end of 2022, I was at my friend's birthday party and Kat was there. And I had liquid courage, right? Because I realized what I did wrong. So I went up to her, we started talking, and mind you, everybody knew what was going on, so they kind of left us alone in the bar, like in this corner. So it was just me and her talking. And it was the first time I sincerely like apologized to someone. I was like, hey, like, I'm so sorry, like, I was not a good friend. Just because you didn't love me the way I wanted you to love me doesn't mean you were loving me in your own way. Because I was really in like a narrow mindset where it's like my way or the highway, and not realizing there are other ways to love and do things for your friends. Anyway, so after that, we start talking again, so now we're friends again. So yeah, so story number 2. This is my last story. So
I'm editing the video and I decided to cut the story out because I felt like the video is dragging on and this story wasn't too relevant. So I'm just going to continue talking about the rest of the content that I intended this video to be. Thanks!
I finally understand what it means to bleed on those who didn't cut you. And sometimes people do that. And it's just unfortunate. So like, you just have to make the discernment to like remove yourself from that. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's your mental health and like what you feel is best for you. So I know sometimes people are like in the same friend group and they feel uncomfortable. But I feel like taking a couple weeks of uncomfortableness is better than being fake and like putting yourself through things you don't want to by keeping the peace. So that's just how I would handle it. Nobody wants to see friends go. Sometimes it hurts more than a breakup, you know? You thought these people were gonna be your ride or die. You thought these people were gonna be in your wedding. You know, shit happens. This is life. I didn't even eat my egg. Let me show you how I eat my egg. So this is my egg, right? Just like that. My friends hate it. Let me show you something crazy. You put the noodle right here. Right, and you just the last part, how to know if you are the toxic friend. How I realized like I was a toxic friend in certain situations was I was also like victimizing myself at some point. Because sometimes you're just so hurt, you really cannot see outside yourself. So sometimes I think it's good to really like take a step back and reevaluate yourself. Ask yourself like if there's like a reoccurring theme, like if you're always having a problem with someone, or if you're always losing friends. It's also to like I think good to pick out like friends that could be honest with you, and you can ask them, hey, like, am I toxic? Like, do I have any toxic habits? Like you know, genuine conversations. And sometimes like the type of friend you are doesn't work with the type of friend other people are. It's all about finding balance and friends that like respect your boundaries and where you're at in life. But I'm so going off topic now. So to find out if you are the toxic friend, like you really have to dig deep. Like when I was having these situations with the friends and the stories, I was like, damn, 3 friends is like a lot. Like, am I the problem? But I think for the first 2, I could have maybe handled certain things differently. But there's so much more to the story that like I didn't say, and just so many layers to it. So I was like, oh, I don't really think I'm the issue. I think like there are some things I could have done better. So to find out if you're a toxic friend, it's just, you know, your judgment. You know, sit around, talk to your friends, see like you have any habits you can fix. Maybe you can go to therapy if you are able to, because I know some people say it's expensive, but you know, you really have to dig deep and take a reflect on yourself and like the people around you. How do people act around you? Do you feel like, you know, they don't want to hang out with you? Do you feel like they always have to walk on eggshells around you? It's okay to realize that like you have some negative behaviors that you need to work on. I don't think anyone's perfect. I think we all have things we should work on, and I feel like self-awareness is like a really good first step, being aware that you do have issues, because it's really hard. Like I'm telling you, like this shit not easy. Like digging deep is not easy. So taking a self-awareness is really a good first step. And you know, take your time to work through your problems, because it took me about 2 to 3 years to really like go through my shit, and it was a lot. And at first I was like, damn, I don't got time for this shit. But it really does take time. Like you know, it doesn't have to take too long, but you can't force it. You definitely can make this decision on how things affect you. Like I know when I was in therapy, I victimized myself a lot, like, oh, like I'm this way because my mom did this to me. But that's not like an excuse. You know, you have to grow from these experiences and like take accountability for like the things you're doing, because sometimes what you're doing, it like affects other people, so you have to take accountability for that. I hope this video helped. I have no idea if I was rambling, because it was just like a lot and I was trying to get everything out of my mind onto the camera. And I finally finished my lunch. I actually paused for a bit so I could eat because my food was literally so cold. But yeah, this is basically just curating your circle, because you are who you surround yourself with, and you want to surround yourself with people that make you feel good, that lift you up. Like life is so short, you know? You have 2 lives, and the second one begins when you realize you only have 1. And when you realize you only have 1, you are so picky with who you want to spend your time with, especially if you put in the work to heal yourself. You're even pickier with who you really want to give your energy to. So don't feel bad for putting yourself first, because you work so hard to get to where you're at. You did not come this far just to get this far, okay? So I hope this video helped, and I really liked enjoying this. It felt so good. I hope you guys enjoyed. Love you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, give a heart.